We have made it. The long wait is over. Duke basketball back. A game a little bit later today as the Blue Devils will take on Lipscomb. This is Locked On Blue Devils.
Hi, everybody. Dick Vitale. Hey, make sure you listen, man, to Locked On Blue Devils with J.J. Jackson. He's awesome, baby.
You are Locked On Blue Devils, your daily podcast on the Duke Blue Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Locked On Blue Devils podcast. My name is J.J. Jackson. Thank you so much for being here with us today on Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. Locked On Blue Devils is your one-stop shop where we discuss everything going on inside the life of Duke athletics. And on today's show, we're going to have our good pal Jordan Mann here with us today talking about this Duke basketball game against Lipscomb a little bit later tonight. Jon Scheyer closing in on win number 100 as the Blue Devils head coach. And with J-Man here, we got to get a little football thoughts from him as well. We'll do that throughout the course of today's show. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to follow and subscribe to Locked On Blue Devils for free, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Be sure to leave us a 5-star rating and written review. Go ahead and watch our show each and every day on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, share it with your friends as we continue to grow our audience here on Locked On Blue Devils. So without further ado, super excited to bring him on into today's program. The aforementioned Jordan Mann here with us once again. Hello, sir. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, JJ. I'm good. I have confetti flying around my room because you're talking about the Duke football, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but I still have my confetti from the field that rained down when I was on the midfield. So I was just playing with that as you were teeing it up. But look, things are good. Things are good, dude. Duke against Lipscomb, and Duke's 10-0, I think. Yeah. My brain's going back and forth here, 10-0, and I'm ready to talk some undefeated basketball.
Yeah, I mean, haven't lost yet and feel pretty good about Duke's chances going into this one a little bit later tonight. So we'll see if they're able to keep the winning ways going. I mean, this is a matchup of all matchups, Jordan, man. Duke and Lipscomb have never met before on the hardwood. It's the Blue Devils versus the Bisons. What more could you ask for, man?
I mean, what else would you want? Like, outside of winning a national championship, I just think the runner-up to that is Duke versus Lipscomb on a random Tuesday in December. That's what I want. That's what I want in my life. Do I want Duke to win a national championship? Sure, but I want Duke to play Lipscomb on a Tuesday in December. So I'm ready to run through a wall for the first ever matchup.
Well, the visitors from Nashville are making their trip over. And when the schedule was first put out a little bit earlier this year, remember there was an important distinction to give people here. There were so many teams in non-conference play beyond the major conference opponents. Many of those mid-majors, if you want to call them, were teams Duke had never played before. And Lipscomb is one of those. Also, remember, we had the conversation, a win already for Duke over Howard. They're the Bison, but Lipscomb, the Bisons, plural. So you're going to have plural Bisons that you encounter a little bit later today when you're there inside Cameron Indoor.
JJ, listen, dude. This is why you're a big J and I'm a little J, because I couldn't care less with the pronunciation. I'm going to screw it up one way or the other. If you listen to a film breakdown or just me open my mouth, I'm going to say something wrong. Like, I had a tough Saturday, this past Saturday, with a couple guys that I'm like, hey, they're not great at basketball. Devon Ukachukwu had 23 for Michigan State. Melvin Council, I'm saying, hey, you shouldn't shoot outside 5 feet, hits 9 threes and Raleigh. And so, it's a tough weekend for me. And what I'm saying is whatever comes out of my mouth in this episode, if you're listening, just don't listen to me. Just put it in one ear, out the other, and you'll be fine. You'll be a better person for it.
No doubt. I mean, look, there were crazy performances over the past weekend that we were able to kind of enjoy because Duke wasn't playing. It's been a really long time since the Blue Devils have taken the hardwood, and I just thought you'd like to know those things, and that's what we provide the everydayers, right? I mean, Howard Bison, and then Lipscomb Bisons, plural. We'll add the S there in the mix with how they kind of delineate their mascot.
Look, with you giving me this too, like we'll record a Big J, Little J show later this week, and I can just steal that and just say that I'm the one that's being creative with this and talking about it, and not JJ Jackson on Locked On Blue Devils. I'm going to tell Connor I found out this myself. So that's a good thing about this current state of social media that we're in.
Exactly. Yeah, no one will be able to find this conversation at all, I'm sure. All right, so here we go. The Duke heavily favored in a matchup like this. It's a team that, guys fresh off their exams, and now they get back into the gym ready to take on Lipscomb. I kind of like the way the schedule's set up this way, man, because clearly there's a bigger game ahead of ourselves on Saturday when Duke goes back to Madison Square Garden to take on a top 25 team in Texas Tech. Is that fair thinking to follow there, that, hey, it is good to have kind of another opponent in the way to get you ready, get you back into gear after you've been away for so long?
Yeah, it's a nice tune-up game to shake some rust off. It's not going to be pretty if I had to imagine the first 4 minutes of the game. It's going to be sloppiness. I mean, Duke hasn't played in a while. Exam week, it's a weird time as a player and a coach, because college basketball, you're in it every day for all of November, the first week of December, and then all through January, February, March. But it's like a 2.5 week thing in December is always throws off your everyday activities, what you want to do. And so it's a good tune-up game to have. It's kind of like the Brotherhood run that Duke had to tune up before they played the gauntlet of the non-conference slate that they did against the ranked opponents. So it's a really good job of Duke, Jon Scheyer and Duke, scheduling to where, yes, they play tough opponents, but they're doing a good job of playing inferior opponents before they can get ready for a big-time opponent.
Yep, and so it's going to be Lipscomb a little bit later today. This is a team where the ESPN basketball analytics give Duke a 99% chance to win this one. Just 1% for the Bisons. There is a chance, but in all likelihood, that's not going to take place a little bit later inside Cameron Indoor. Hey, here's the thing, though. We're nearing win number 100 for head coach Jon Scheyer. Crazy that we're already here 4 seasons in.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I'm happy for him, obviously. And, I've been on this show for a couple of years now, just beating the drum about Coach Scheyer and what he can do and what his possibilities of doing for this Duke team. And he's done it. He's done an outstanding job after last year to have this team 10-0 and winning one-score games. That was the one flaw of last year's team. They were dominant in all their wins, but when that team had to battle adversity and 1 to 2 score games, they kind of fell down the stretch. Now you look at this team, they have a big-time win at Michigan State, and then they have the 1-point win at home against Florida. And, they battled adversity so far in 10 games this season. And he's such a good coach, X and O-wise, and also just the rotation and getting guys in the right places. It's easy to point, you have Cam Boozer, you had Cooper Flagg. The other guys have stepped up huge in their roles, and him and the staff done a really good job of identifying those roles for those players.
And anytime you're able to do that, you get buy-in, I think, from everybody. I think we're super impressed that 10 games into the season this year specifically, to that buy-in coming from the head coach, all 9 guys are still averaging double figures in minutes played out there, right? It's not a situation where the rotation has been cut down too much at all. Sure, there have been games as of late where Caden Boozer and Darren Harris haven't played as much, but they're playing. And in years past, in some situations, we'd already start to see some guys just getting DNPs already out the gate. But that level of transparency, I think, is so critical, and one of the bigger reasons why Sheyer's been so successful.
Yeah, I mean, look, Scheyer's got obviously the number 1 recruiting club. He gets the number 1 guys in recruiting, and portal-wise, they've done a good job of picking guys up. But the unsung hero so far this season has been Caleb Foster, a guy that a lot of people, including myself, wrote off after he had a DNP late last year, thinking he was all but gone going to the portal. He stays put. Scheyer wants him instead of getting a transfer point guard. And look what's happened. He, in 3 ranked wins, Caleb Foster's been a guy that's made a huge play in all 3 of those games. Arkansas, he hit the 3. Florida, he poked it away from Boogie Flan at the end of the game. And then Michigan State hits the 3 and hits 2 free throws down the stretch. So, yes, getting great high school players, great one-and-done guys. Yes, you're getting pretty good guys out of the portal. But the development of Caleb Foster from his freshman to sophomore to junior year, to battle through the ups and downs that he's had and to just be transparent, him and Scheyer being on the same page about how he needs to progress and him doing that, it's great coaching. And it goes for Scheyer and the whole staff, and Caleb Foster deserves his flowers for that as well.
All right, well, we've got certainly more things to highlight with this game and then the week ahead for Duke. Big game coming up on Saturday against Texas Tech. So we'll begin to get to that portion of our conversation after this break here on Locked On Blue Devils. Locked On Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends over at Omaha Steaks. The holidays are here, and whether you're hosting family, planning the perfect gift, or just trying to keep things simple and delicious, Omaha Steaks is making it easier than ever. From effortless holiday entertaining to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience straight to your door. And what makes it even better, with Omaha Steaks, you always know exactly what you're gifting. USDA certified tender steaks, premium proteins, gourmet sides, and decadent desserts that make anyone feel appreciative. I love how easy it is to gift, shows up frozen, packed beautifully, and ready to cook. Save big on gourmet gifts and holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com, and for an extra $35 off, use code COLLEGE at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com, code COLLEGE. Omaha Steaks, a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. Thank you so much for making Locked On Blue Devils your first listen and your first watch here today. Do want to make sure that you are aware of our Everydayer Club that's now out and launching. As you know, Locked On is the #1 sports podcast network, and you already live your team every day. Now you can take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Blue Devils with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and so much more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to the link in our show notes below to learn more. Join the Everydayer Club here with Locked On Blue Devils. All right, an everydayer that I love is Jordan Mann, and he's here with us on the program today, talking about the Duke team and Jon Scheyer closing in on win number 100 a little bit later tonight. He had 89 wins through his first 3 seasons as a head coach, which was tied with Brad Stevens and Brad Underwood for the most ever. And J-Man, I hate to think about it, bro, but we were 30 seconds away from him holding that record all to himself had Houston not done Houston things against Duke in the Final Four.
You know, if we weren't starting, if Duke was not 10-0 right now, JJ, on the cusp of 11-0, I would say shut your mouth. But you know what? It's fine because, that was those 2 minutes, just an avalanche happened of bad things. But look, we're 1 win away. We are 1 win away, as I say that, with Duke playing Lipscomb tonight. And it's awesome. It's awesome that he is in this predicament, because it's funny when the article came out last year, I forgot, was it Athletic or somebody had a good piece on Coach Scheyer talking about his journey where he was a finalist for DePaul. DePaul was the worst, besides Chicago State, the worst basketball team in college basketball, and they turned down Jon Scheyer, who's from Chicago, as their head coach. And then fast forward a couple years later. Yeah. And then fast forward a couple years later, and now he is Duke basketball's. He became Duke basketball's head coach. So I wonder if Scheyer ever thinks about that. I'm sure he has to, right? Like, oh my God, I could be at DePaul right now. Or actually, I could be out of a job because I went to DePaul because it's so hard to win there. And instead, he's facing 100, or could be winning his 100th game tonight against Lipscomb.
And what is the message to the haters, man? I mean, to think about, let's bring in the legend dynamic here. This is Coach K we're talking about. This is the best to ever do it, and you're the guy after the guy. No one wants to be in that spot, historically speaking, and yet Scheyer acts like, of course, this is easy. This is how it should go for everybody that's replacing a legend.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know he lost a couple of games early in his tenure, his first and second years, that like Duke fans were really upset about, but you got to find your footing somewhere. And it was always going to be a learning curve for the guy. And just to see those first 2 teams really progress as the season kept going gave me a lot of confidence in him for, year 3 and 4 and so on and so forth. The beginning of those seasons would get better and better. And you've seen it. I mean, they're, like I said, they're in year 4 now, and they're 10-0 for the first time in a while. Last year's team was dominant, and they had a couple of slip ups early, but went 19-1 in the ACC. So he's gotten better as a head coach, and he's found his voice as a head coach after his first year and after his second year. And that's scary. That's scary for everybody else, that a guy that had no head coaching experience on the biggest stage. I don't care about yes, it is biased that I'm talking about Duke basketball as the biggest stage, because it is. And he found his voice. It took him 1.5 years, 2 years to find his voice. And year 3 goes to the Final Four, wins the ACC. Year 4, they're undefeated, top 3 in the country. And so Duke's very lucky to have held on to him, and thank God for DePaul being DePaul and turning away Jon Scheyer when he did an interview for that job, because I can speak for all fans, I think, when I say we're very fortunate to have him as he approaches win number 100.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody else, truthfully, in the position, and the fact that it's gone so well to start off a career is incredible. The game later tonight being played inside Cameron Indoor, now in his 4th season, I think it's fitting. He's only lost 3 games in Cameron Indoor as the Duke basketball head coach.
That is crazy, because I remember, I think off the top of my head, they were all 3 in his first 2 years. It was UNC, Pitt. I remember Pitt standing on the scores table at the end, and I can't remember the third one. And that's not a troll if there really is like a layup that I can't think about right now. But he's been outstanding, and winning in Cameron's difficult. Just ask Todd Golden, as he complained about it after the post game. So it's really cool to see him do what he's done and look, win 100. And I think this team, though you're going to preview Texas Tech later this week, that's another good test that I'm very excited for, with Christian Anderson and JT Toppin playing in MSG.
I was sitting here trying to think about that third loss for Scheyer as well, and I know that someone in the comments is probably shouting at us right now as we speak with who it would be, but the fact that, again, there are only 3 of them that we're having to think about, and the big games that have been played there beyond the ACC each and every year. Auburn last season, Florida this year at home. I mean, surely there'd be one that would come along, and Duke's just been able to do a great job taking care of business.
Yeah, and that's just, again, it's him finding his voice as the head coach, because I want to say, I don't know what the first one was, because the other loss, that is bothering me as we have this conversation, because people are probably yelling at the screen, and rightfully so. I get yelled at a lot, JJ.
Let's podcast in real time. I'm searching, man. I'm searching.
But so Duke is going to continue to hold home court, and Lipscomb is the test at hand. But then after Thanksgiving, after Christmas, they have Georgia Tech for the new year, and you're looking at a potential, what is that? My dumb brain, 3 plus 10, 13-0, JJ, going into the new year. That's a hell of a way to bounce back from the Final Four loss against Houston. All right, we're going to start off the 2025 with a tough, heartbreaking loss at Houston. We're going to end 2025 13-0 potentially. I mean, it's a hell of a bounce back, a hell of a year for Jon Scheyer as he's going to be now in his 4th year at Duke.
Big fan of what he's doing with this basketball team, and want to obviously see things continue for Duke under Jon Scheyer's leadership. Let's get away from home. Let's talk Duke inside Madison Square Garden. And part of me was thinking, Jay, if they lose one of these games early in the year, and it would have set up that 100 could come at MSG. Also, how fitting that would be. Madison Square Garden was home to Coach K's 1,000th victory in 2015 over St. John's. It was also home to win number 903 for him back in 2011 when he became the all-time winningest coach in Duke history. I had that thought earlier this year where I was like, wait a minute. If there is a loss, it would kind of set up to where Scheyer could also celebrate a significant, meaningful win inside MSG.
So you're telling me Duke should throw this game Wednesday.
Phone it in.
Just phone it in. Jack Scott, you're up. You're starting. We're going to play. We're going to play against Lipscomb, and we're going to go Ifichukwu at the 5. We're going to do it all. And you know what? Duke's going to lay an egg tonight, and just to save that number 100 in MSG for Scheyer to be with Coach K, they're going to greet at half court at the end of the game, like Coach K has done for the Brotherhood runs when Duke alums come back to coach. They're going to do that at MSG.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Duke's going to – this is the 1% that Vegas was talking about. 99% chance Duke wins, 1% Lipscomb wins. Here's the 1%. Duke's going to purposely throw this game to win number 100 in MSG. So there you go. We already beat the headlines.
All right, we're silly because we've forgotten that home loss. You ready for it? I just found it. So again, let's win it today in Cameron Indoor, celebrate another meaningful game. And it would have been cool to have it at MSG, but we'll just be 11-0 going to Madison Square Garden and hopefully 12-0, so on and so forth. Lost to Pittsburgh at home that year. Lost to UNC at home that season. Caleb Love and the Arizona Wildcats came in And that was one of the first games of the season. It was the first home loss for head coach Jon Scheyer. In his first season, he did not lose a single home game. His second season, he lost 3 home games, all of them in 1 year. And then this past year, the Final Four season, no home losses for Duke. So all of them have been in that one season. Arizona, Pitt, and UNC.
Hey, I'm screaming at myself now because I know people are like, you
Caleb
idiot.
Love got us,
Caleb
man.
Love, because, they waved the crowd off when they were leaving the floor. Caleb Love was probably had 7 points on 3 of 100 and got carried by his team, but he made free throws down the stretch. It's coming back to me. It's coming back to me. But
then Duke ended his career. The Final Four team ended his career.
And he just didn't want to miss. I thought he was going to score 75 points with the way the refs were calling in the second half too. But thank God they did end that because that's a great stat. That undefeated year 1, 3 losses year 2, undefeated year 3, and so far undefeated at home in year 4. And we're going to keep it going against Lipscomb. I just said they're going to throw the game against Lipscomb literally a minute and a half ago, but here we are. They're going to win, and they'll move 11-0.
This is what, sorry, Bisons, again with an S. Plural Bison. Sorry, Bisons. You can't have your fun a little bit later tonight.
Look, it's all right, JJ. If this gets clipped by me just being an idiot on this show, it's great for this. You're going to get all the subscribers, and I'm going to get all the hate. That is exactly what you need.
We're looking for. Yeah. At J-Man's Takes on X. Go hit him up and send him all the love. All right, I want to talk football with you. Does that work?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's talk some football. We'll step aside for a quick moment and talk about Manny Diaz and company after our final timeout here today. Yes, Locked On Blue Devils is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Hey guys, the World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994, and with 48 teams for the first time ever. It's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through the matchups and compare seat views. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets, every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time, proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. All right, last segment today. I've got Jordan Mann at J-Man's Takes. He's got the Big J and Little J show. He's with Sleepers Media. He's at J-Man's Takes on X. He's all over the place. And also a big Duke football fan. Once upon a time, one of us in this conversation had a world-famous Duke football Twitter account that was shut down for some reason, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to lead off with that, JJ. We're ACC champs. We don't have to talk about the past. But yeah, look, it was that was a fun time, but now I still tweet from the 2.0 account, but I also try and give Duke football love on my main account now that my followers have grown more thanks to basketball. But football forever be true to my heart, and I love Duke. I love Duke football, and who else comes on this show and says Duke's going to give up 100 third down conversions, like a 3rd and 77? They'll give up an 86-yard touchdown. That's only me. It's only. But this team, just resiliency to win that ACC championship against UVA, a team that just had their way with Duke 3 weeks prior. Duke had 5 losses this year. Everybody talks about it, which they don't talk about the 2 ACC losses. They look at the 7-5 records like they shouldn't be in, not the 6-2 ACC. But I digress. Getting me on a Big J, Little J show tangent right now, JJ. But one of the 5 losses for Duke was Virginia, and that was the loss of the season where Duke just was outclassed in every facet of the game. So for them to come back in less than a month to beat them and to control the tempo of the whole game gave me a heart attack down the stretch, but that is what Duke football does. Nothing's easy, but you stay to the bitter end, and you know what? You get rewarded for it, and you get rewarded by a Luke Murguy interception to clinch ACC championship.
Jordan, it was 31-3 at the start of the fourth quarter the first time those two teams met. So shout out to Duke for being ready and in it right away.
Brother, I left during that game. That was the first Duke football game that I've left in maybe my lifetime, and I went to some stinkers growing up. Like Duke Randy Edsel was the head coach, like 45-14. I stayed true. Duke, Florida State, I stayed true. Duke against Virginia in the regular season. I looked at my dad when Virginia went 31-3. I was like, let's get out of here with like 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. I had no hope for the rest of the season, let alone that game. And so I'll be dang if Duke wins the ACC after that. And me and my dad have talked about that. It was like, can you believe that team won it all?
Right.
No. And
Right.
people are trying to ruin my mood saying that this team wasn't going to the CFP. I couldn't have cared less. 1962 was the last time they had an outright championship. This is awesome. I'm still on cloud nine. I still have my stuff from the ACC Media Day. Like, still have my Big J, Little J show. Look, I'm a little J, but there was a Big J moment of being on the field. Pre-game and post-game. So
you already showed us the confetti. I mean, you've been there. You've been there. And now we get the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
Yeah.
The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl against Arizona State. New Year's Eve.
You bet your butt, JJ.
Yeah.
I'll be locked in for Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. And if you don't think I have revenge on my mind for the 2014 Sun Bowl, you are sadly mistaken. Because I remember that game. I remember Anthony Boone throwing a jump ball to Jamison Crowder to the side of the end zone when he had McCaffrey open and across the middle. So I need this. Same opponent, JJ.
Yeah.
And against Jeff Sims, by the way, Arizona State's quarterback, who's 3-0 all time against Duke. Little nugget for you for people that are not tuned in to Duke football, which I understand. Jeff Sims was a quarterback at Georgia Tech for 5 years, for 4 years. Now he's been at Arizona State, but 3-0 against Duke in his career. So, something to play for.
And I love Kenny Dillingham. I think he's a really impressive head coach for Arizona State. Super young and fiery and energetic. And, they were in the college football playoff a season ago. And now it's a team that, had Sam Leff at their quarterback, not been injured. They were right there. They beat Texas Tech. The one loss the Red Raiders have this season is to the hands of Arizona State.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. It's also really sad to see Arizona State be what they are now compared to what they were last year. I know Sam Levitt got hurt, but Cam Scatterbo last year, they should have beat Texas. It was Texas, right? That's who they lost. They should have won that game. I was pulling for them to see now as we record. Sam Levitt is going to be in the portal. Obviously, Cam Scatterbo is in New York. It just kind of shows you where we are with college football and the NIL, where it's just great run last year. Obviously, Cam is graduating. That's different. But your starting quarterback, you face some adversity this year because he gets hurt. Now he's gone. He won't be playing in the bowl game. He was hurt anyway, so Duke's playing the backup in Jeff Sims. And hopefully, nobody for Duke. Last year, Duke was robbed of Malik Murphy playing in the Gator Bowl because he went to the portal. So hopefully there's not a major contributor for Duke to be in the portal.
And Grayson Loftus. I mean, Henry Beelan.
Yeah.
Henry Beelan started for Duke at quarterback.
Yeah, the tragic loss of Grayson Loftus at QB was really dampened the scoreboard for Duke football. But yes, you are right. You are right, JJ, because Henry Beelan had to step up, and he did the best he could. But playing against Lane Kiffin and Jackson Dart, I was happy to be there. My championship or bowl victory of that game was the tailgate, and we won the tailgate.
It is going to, that doesn't surprise me one bit. It is going to be interesting to see how this continue the calendar. Everyone wants to talk about the transfer portal doesn't officially open until January 2nd, and however, so many players have said, I'm going to enter. I'm planning to enter the transfer portal. And Kenny Dillingham has come out with quite the contrary opinion as some coaches, where he's saying, if you enter the transfer portal for us, you're more than welcome to still take part in our bowl game festivities. This is still my 2025 team, the 2025 Sun Devils. I'll let you take part. Manny Diaz hasn't directly been asked about this question, and we'll see if Duke players decide to head that way. A few have started to kind of hint at going elsewhere, Peyton Jones being one of them, but that's I'm super curious how the dynamic plays out for the next few weeks.
Yeah, and I like the way that he thinks. I like Kenny Dillingham a lot, and I think the way he thinks is very forward and progressive, and I think that's just the way it is. 10 years ago, would I be behind that? I can tell you my coaches wouldn't have been. you know what? It's the lay of the land, and I think it's the right way to think. And he's trying to win a football game. So, like, he wants his better players that are entering the portal to stay one last time so they can get that win, because the last thing he wants to do is be like Florida State against Georgia when everybody opted out after they missed the CFP and, you know, they lose like 58-3 in the Sun Bowl.
Well, now we have teams that don't even want to play in a bowl game, you know.
Listen,
so if there's somebody that wants to play, Coach Dillingham's like, yeah, let's do this thing, man. Come play this game.
Yeah, obviously that's a different talking point, but yes, Kenny Dillingham makes the right decision, and I kind of am for the teams that opt out completely, because I thought bowl season has been dead for the last 2 or 3 years, but I know that's a different topic. But yeah, it's a great way of thinking by him, and I'm curious to know what Manny Diaz thinks as well.
Jordan, tell us about everything you got going on your plate and how people can best support you.
Yeah, Duke fans, Big J, Little J show. We'll have a show out this week, later this week after the Lipscomb game. Sleepers Media, college basketball, Action Network. I write for Action Network. You can find me on the Action Network app. Sleepers Media's YouTube channel, also on Twitter, social media, Twitter and Instagram. And then find me on YouTube, JMan_. And you can find my film breakdowns, Big J, Little J show, and a lot more stuff. That's going to be a lot. 2026 is going to be a big year, JJ. And so I'm looking forward to it with some content.
Yes, it is, man. It's always great to see you. I know in 2026, there's going to be plenty of chats between you and I. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for being here, man.
I'll see you, buddy.
All right, that's Jordan Mann joining us here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. As that brings our show today to a close. Once again, join our Everydayer Club here with Locked On Blue Devils. You can find a link to do that in the show notes of today's episode. Also, be sure to follow and subscribe to us for free wherever it is that you get your podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on X at LO_Blue Devils. As always, go Duke. I'll talk to you tomorrow. My name is JJ Jackson. Thank you and good day.